Hey everybody, Randy here in the Knot Pipe Shop. Coming back to you after a long time. So this is a long overdue video. I want to cover a bunch of things, and just to start off here, I am smoking my knot pipe Gideon shape that I've been having a number of requests for, and this is my go-to pipe. I smoke this. I probably told you this before, but it just hangs right for me. Like it. And in it, I am smoking. I always want to call it plum cake, but it's plum pudding. I always want to call it plum cake because it comes like this. I've got a big bag of it, and what I'm using, I just keep in that tin. And I just found a bag up in my upstairs office. I kept opening up this one cabinet. Every time I'd open it, I would smell this tobacco, and it's like, something's in there. What have I left in there? I didn't realize I'd left a whole bag, like a big bag of, and at one point that was kind of my favorite go-to, so I haven't smoked it for quite a while, so it's over a year old. And it was sealed inside a Ziploc, inside a Ziploc, and it's actually okay. It's a little on the dry side, but it's actually, I prefer it, I think, that way. Not having to light it a lot. Well, what all do I want to cover today? First of all, since I've last talked to you, there has been the Southern Fried Pipe Show in Nashville, and oh, that was amazing. I had one of the best times of my life there. As some of you know, I had to fly out the next morning out of Atlanta at 5 in the morning to catch a flight for El Salvador, because we did a well in El Salvador, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But in fact, when they first announced the date for the Southern Fried Pipe Show, and that it was going to be an all-artisan show, and that I was getting an invite to show my pipes and sell my pipes, I was really excited, because that's the first time I've ever done something like that. And then when they announced the date, I was like, oh man, I was really bummed, because that's when I had a well trip booked. And normally our well trips, we leave on a Saturday, and it just so happened that this one left on a Sunday. And when I found out it was going to leave on a Sunday, I was like, man, it's going to be tight, but I can do it. So I took a week off my day job so that I could, you know, get some inventory, because I've been just basically trying to keep up with my commissions, and just keeping so that I've got 4 or 5 out in front of me, which isn't too bad for me. So anyhow, I got put some of my commissions on hold. Everybody understood on that, and just did some inventory for the show, and actually had one that I delivered to the show. So anyhow, I had 7 pipes. I'll put in a couple of pictures. In fact, I'll put in a picture here of my table. Yeah, so that was my table, and my wife helped me make the tags and get everything looking really good. And but I tell you what, the night before I was like, okay, you know, trying to set my prices and that, and I said to my wife, I said, you know, I could go to this show and sell 1 pipe, no pipes, a couple pipes. You're gonna sell out. I said, well, honey, I appreciate, you know, you thinking that, because I know you're my biggest fan, you love my work. And she was telling me I was going to do well, but hey, there was like 30 some other guys there, good name guys that make amazing pipes. I was just privileged to actually have a table in with all those guys. I had fun just, you know, looking at everybody's work and seeing all the pipes there. And I was really, you know, I'm doing this to raise the money for these wells. In fact, I put this whole trip on Visa. I was hoping I would sell enough pipes that I could actually, you know, pay for the trip. So that was the goal. But I was a doubter at the last minute, and Kim's like, "No, you're going to do well." Well, man, I was blown away by the response to my pipes at the show. I sold out in 2 hours and 15 minutes, like quarter after 12. I was able to go have lunch with all of my pipes sold. And so, and I was the first one to sell it. I'm not sure how many guys sold out. I don't know, 'cause I had to leave early. I left at 5. I hung out till 5, and then headed back home so I could be at the airport early in the morning. So it worked out great. I actually got home by 9 o'clock. Didn't have to. I was envisioning getting home at 1 in the morning and then packing and leaving kind of thing. So my wife had me all packed for the trip and was looking after me. So anyhow, I just want to say thank you to all of you that bought my pipes. You know, the only thing that I don't like about a show like that is I didn't get everybody's name or contact information that bought my pipes. So I've got people that bought my pipes that I don't even know who you are. So if you bought one of my pipes at the show and you're watching this video, if you did in the comments, just give me your contact information and tell me what pipe you bought. That would be awesome. The gentleman that bought one for himself and for his son, man, I appreciated that. A couple of my most expensive pipes, a $350 pipe and a $270. I think I gave him a deal since he was buying two. The $300 pipe I put down to $275. So those were my two most expensive pipes, and within 5 minutes, one gentleman bought both. He picked up my most expensive one. He said he wanted to. He was trying to figure it. He was getting it for his son, but then he really wanted it, and so then he swung back and got my other one. That was the one that had the real nice bend to it and sat down on its nose. I'll put a picture in here. I think I'll try and do that. And then he got another one with my nice ring on it, another Gideon. So that was awesome, and I just had a great time. I would have liked to have been able to stay for another day. So anyhow, I could talk about that for quite a while. Hey, Chris, you did an awesome job. Chris Morgan, Grant Batson, and everybody that helped put on that. I thought, you know, it was incredible. I thought the concept was neat, obviously from my perspective, being an artisan pipe carver. You know, it was kind of, but it was cool just to see all the other guys' stuff. It's just some great guys. Great pipes. It was amazing. And Bruce, to have that evening for the pipe carvers the night before at your house and give us supper and everything, that was incredible. Man, what a shot. I appreciate that so much. That was awesome. Anyhow, then the next morning off, flying high, excited about selling out. Came within a couple $100s of paying for my trip. Went down. We got to just a great village of. It was actually in a school, so all the kids from the village, they had to truck water into that school, and there was only certain times a year they could get water in, and sometimes they didn't have water at school. So they really needed a well, and we hit amazing water, just crazy. Only one other time have we hit more. And that one was incredible. That was in Guatemala. So this one was like, we guesstimated around 300 gallons a minute. We pumped on it with the compressor to develop the well for two and a half hours straight, just as much water as you know, I'll show you in this picture here. It's a couple pictures. Yeah, so that water was coming out like that, just like crazy for like 2 hours. We never did get ahead of it, which is good. And they actually eventually wanted to convert it from a hand pump and put a electric so they could fill their tower tank. So that was awesome. So man, that was great. Appreciate those of you that have bought my pipes, because every time you buy a knot pipe, you're helping me do these trips. We're doing you know, a couple a year. I've got 2 planned for next year. If any of you want to come on a missions trip to help us put in a well, our ideal team has 12. 4 of the team need to be ladies on the hygiene and work with the women in the village. So if anybody's got an interest in going on one of these trips, you know, let me know. Put a comment down in the PM. We're going to be going to Honduras in June. Here's our next one, so it's a while. gives you some time to put some money together for it. We're going to be going to, and then in October, Guatemala. So that's the next 2 trips. I may get one orphanage trip in between. I got a buddy in Mexico that's got an orphanage, and we may go down, and he's got lots of work projects down there. Would like to do that in January or February. So anyhow, I'm rambling on a little bit, but the well trip was great. You saw some of those pictures there. So anyhow, down to some pipes. Some cool things have been happening. How are we doing on time here? Cool things have been happening. I decided to, well, let me start with, I did a commission last weekend. Actually, my first bad experience with a commission. You know, part of it was my fault. I've just been blessed with people that have been commissioning me so far, so maybe I don't have even the right perspective on a commission, but my perspective on a commission, or the way my commissions have been coming in, people have said, hey, I like that Gideon pipe you're doing, can you give me one like that? You know, some people are just like, hey, whatever you want to do. You know, some people are saying, hey, I'd like a red Cumberland stem. You know, hey, you know, be creative, do whatever you want, but a version of that. You know, then my smoke on the water pipe, I've got people that are asking for that. But this was my first time where somebody had given me specifics, or not specifics, had given me some generalities. I like a Dublin, I like this model, I like this, I like your Gideon, I like this. And so it kind of came down to a variation of a 126 stem, what was it? And so I did up a little drawing and gave it a little more bend and made my variation of it, and then sent off a line drawing, and I needed to get working on it. I didn't hear back, but I went through all the communication we had. So I was already 3-4 hours into it when I got a picture back of my drawing overlaying a Stanwell, and then with like 1 millimeter red lines to just adjust it a little bit. So then I tried to create it, you know, so that was what he wanted. So I tried to edit mine on the fly, which I shouldn't have done. And I probably shouldn't have started until I had heard back from him on my drawing. So that was so anyhow, bottom line is we had interaction all through the rest of it, and I tweaked it and did little things and that. So it came out a little different, and quite honestly, from my perspective, it came out sweeter. And but to my surprise, when it was done, he said, nah, it's not doing it for me, which I've always said, hey, when I'm done, if it doesn't work for you, you don't have to buy it. And that's still the way it is. I'm not taking money down, and if you don't like the way it looks at the end, I've got enough people looking for. So anyhow, this is it, and I think I'm going to keep it for myself because I have never done one like this. One's got a nice plateau at the top. This is, I've actually got on the top here a little, I forget what the material is, I'd have to look up. I've got a little ring on the top that allows me to keep my drilling looking perfect from the top, because that draft hole has to go in at an angle. So anyhow, and I was giving him a deal on it too, so my wife is like, hey, you need to be selling these things. You know, you're trying to raise money. I didn't quite get enough for my trip. This pipe would actually do it. So I tell you what, I'm just going to throw this out there and hope that nobody buys it. Does that make sense? I'm not really just saying that. In fact, what do you think? Does it look all right? Kind of gets buried in my beard there. Anyhow, I like the blast, came out really nice on it. The lines just are a nice. But I guess if you were looking for a Dublin, it definitely didn't turn out to a Dublin. It's got a little more of a horn Dublin kind of a look, but the lines are quite nice. Anyhow, so now I'm working on a commission. So if anybody wants that, this one's up there. I'm getting up there. This is a $300 pipe for me. I know I've gotten up there a little bit on my prices, but I've got some serious work on it, and this is as perfect as I've ever done. So got got a friend in China who has given me a commission. So I went back looking over my notes before I started his, and all it said was a blast. So I said, was there a certain pipe you're looking for? Did you like the Gideon? Did you like the smoke in the water? And he said, just be creative, whatever. I said, well, you know, I've been wanting to do a blowfish. I've never done a blowfish. I've got somebody else that said if I could put together a good blowfish, they'd be interested. I'd like to try one. He said, cool, go crazy, go out there, work on your first knot blowfish, and let's see what it looks like. So let me give this a shot. This is still in the rough stages. I'm going to give it a little shot of alcohol here so that you can kind of see what it would look like finished, see the grain in it. So this is my blowfish version. I'll give you a few different angles. That's a little different, isn't it, with a point like that? And then we got some nice lines, nice grain coming across there. I got to figure out what parts I'm going to actually blast and what parts I'm not. Got some nice lines coming down there. We got the little fishy fin there. Coming out some interesting things on the, you know, bringing that line through. It's a lot of carving to do on the stem, but it's got a nice little fishy wiggle. You see there? So let's look at it this way. So I'm excited. I'm excited about what this turned out, and he is too. So working on my first blowfish and my first commission for China. So that's pretty exciting for me. Anyhow, so I'm working on that. Time's going. A couple other things. Sell a few pipes that I'm not smoking. So I put some of these up on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, that's where I'm doing most of my stuff. That's why I'm not doing much on eBay. Sean up on Old Peterson. Got somebody spoke for that. I'm going to send it out Wednesday. Wednesday. This one is not spoken for. This is a well pipe. It's a system type pipe. It's in, actually, I think it's in pretty good shape. I've given it a nice polish and clean. It's all been, had a full retort. This one, if you're interested in this pipe, let me know. I forget what I put it up on Instagram for. I think 35 bucks, something like that. My buddy Mark decided to take this Peterson. Again, I'm just some stuff that I'm not smoking. He's taking that one, I think 50. And I've got one left that if you want I think a heck of a deal for an estate pipe. I took this pipe, it was a tan colored and totally different look, and I freshened up the blast. I put it in my blaster to clean it off, and then I stained it, and this is an Italian, it's called Well Pipes. Never thought about this, but I got a couple of pipes here that are Well brand, not even thinking of the connection with the wells. That's kind of funny. But it's made in Italy. It's a Well, W-E-L-L pipe. You can barely see the writing on it there. So it's been totally freshened up. And here, let me give you where to put that? Okay, I'm gonna give you. So if anybody's interested in this, let me know. Sometimes the best way to get me is email randy@notpipes.com, randy@notpipes.com, or notpipes on Instagram. Hit me up there. Okay, this one, it's nice, right? 300. I know. I hope you don't want it, or I hope you don't. I hope you think it's too expensive, because I actually want to keep it. Okay, let's just comparison. Two totally different looks, right? 35, 300, 35, 300, 35. Okay. Anyhow, if anybody wants that 35, we'll talk about shipping on that too. All right, so I'm just selling decided to sell a bunch of, as you can see back here, I've got a bunch more. I have a rack full of estate pipes that I bought. Good pipes, pipes that I've cleaned up, pipes I've smoked once or twice. You know, so I'm going to start picking through these and putting them up on Instagram and selling them for, some of them will be like 20, 30 bucks. Before I ship them out, they'll be fully buffed and cleaned and like cleaned up and looking good. So I figured that I would prefer, at one point I thought it was cool to have 60 or 70 pipes. Now I'm like, I'd like to have 10 or 15 that are really good ones, you know what I mean? And I'd like to have, you know, I'd like to have one of all of my models, you know, I'd like, you know, I've got my Gideon, I've got, you know, I want to keep that at the little, so anyhow, that's what I'm thinking of doing. I think we're running out of time here. Oh, last thing is I got some, I was going to actually get dressed up for this video, but I'm working in the shop here and I ran out of time. So anyhow, I've got my Knot Pipes t-shirts. If anybody's interested in one of those, I'll stick a picture in here. And you can have those for 20 bucks and $5 shipping. So if anybody's, and by the way, for the next little bit, when you buy, oh, let me say it this way: if you want that pipe at 300, I will make a nice tamper to go with it. I haven't done that yet, and a free T-shirt. So you know, okay. So that takes it down to say $25 for a nice custom tamper, $25 ship for a shirt, 50 bucks. Hey, the pipe's only $250. What a deal! Why am I trying to sell this? I want to keep it. Anyhow, I'm rambling. Sorry I've been so long getting out doing a video. I'll try and be a little more consistent. Nah, I probably won't. Check me out on, I'm always on Instagram. I'm going to try and do more little videos on Instagram, but I'm always hitting something out on Instagram. And I'm going to start doing more stuff on my Knot Pipes on Facebook too. So, all right, that's enough. I'm going to let you go. Sorry it was so long, 21 minutes. I hope that you actually watched some of this. Take care. We'll see everybody. Bye.